Hello.
In which all lead the way. Through different paths we go astray. Walking our way against the stream of life, stumbling upon unexpected shards of struggle. Our future may seem carved in stone, but our heart knows the truth. They say the best way to see life is through the eyes of a child. How can I understand you if I've not gone through the life you have lived? Can you understand me if you have not visited my world? One should be acknowledged by their determination, not by the color of their skin. Do not compare yourself with others. Compare yourself with who you were before. When I falter, I should hope that a helping hand will lift me up. For some people, acceptance is not a given. Their freedom of choice is denied. Yet, like millions of butterflies swarming the lake, their lives matter too. Hear the pain in silence, even when it's unspoken. One can get trapped in a box that's too small to breathe in. I shall overcome and rise. When I'm done wiping off my tears, I shall give myself permission to laugh. I will flow into a whole new way of being in the world, empowered and healed. We are different. We are diverse. It's time to think about empowerment differently. The power of moving forward is fueled by colorful connections. From now on, the future will be written by all of us. But now, with my empowered voice.
Well, was silent. You can start the session. I just wanted to show this video to the audience, which is the message of the summit. So you can start your session now.
Rozana, yeah, you have to unmute. Yeah, so I'm muted now. So good afternoon. Good afternoon to the panelists. Good afternoon to everyone that's joined us here today. Welcome, and it's a pleasure to have all of you with us this afternoon. And my name is Rozana. I'm the moderator for this panel discussion today. And the topic that we'll be discussing is career talks, building your competitive advantage. Okay, so today we have an amazing lineup of panelists, really dynamic people. I had the pleasure of meeting 3 of you yesterday, and I've read and looked up Dr. Terri, and I'm very impressed with all of you. You know, and you're all real experts in your fields, and we hope to learn a lot from you today, from your views and your thoughts, and any valuable advice that you can give us on how we can build our competitive advantage on the career front. So I'd like to start by introducing the panelists for the viewers, and maybe just giving a little bit of background on each one so that they can know you a little bit better. So I'll start by introducing this very dynamic young lady. I can't believe how much she's achieved in her short span of life. And that's Anis Wahida. Now, Anis graduated from the top aviation school in Russia, and she majored in aircraft control system. And she found her passion in sales and business development when she was working at a US-based test and measurement company. Now, 1 year into her sales engineering role, she became a member of the President Club. And that was when she decided to focus on her career in sales. And recently, she just joined the LinkedIn sales solution team, and she manages the LinkedIn corporate clients in APAC. Welcome, Anis. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Rozana.
Okay, the next panelist I would like to introduce is Ranukka Singham. Ranukka is a certified image and branding consultant and is the founder of Image Revamp Consultancy. So she's recently been chosen as one of the 100 most inspirational LinkedIn icons in Malaysia. That's a huge achievement. And throughout her 10-year career, Ranukka's work has helped develop over 8,000 professionals through her proven data-driven image and branding programs. And Ranukka is also certified as an NLP practitioner. She's also certified as a men's styling consultant, and she's an HRDF trainer. And she also holds a Bachelor of Science honors degree in optometry. Now, for those of you that don't know what it is, because I didn't know and I had to Google it, it's everything to do with your eyes. Okay, welcome, Ranukka.
Thanks for having me. Thank you so much, Rozana.
Okay, so the next person I would like to introduce comes all the way from Bangalore, India, and that is Shilpa Laharwal. Shilpa is the founder of Career Factor, where she works with job seekers and startups as an HR capability building partner. And she is a certified career coach. She's also a resume and LinkedIn profile writer. And she works with startups who are looking for tailored HR modules and policies and processes. Okay, she comes with over 2 decades of experience, and she's worked with both established multinationals and also startups, and they all span across the wide range of industries, from law firms to IT to farmers and edutech companies. Okay, so while implementing the HR practices at these companies, she realized that her calling was actually in coaching and building people's portfolios, which enables them to find their own individual career path. And supporting promising founders of startups with standalone HR modules also complements her company Career Factor's mission even further. So welcome, Shilpa, all the way from India. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Rozana. Very happy to be a part of this.
Nice to see you too. Okay, so the last person, I'm just meeting her for the first time. And like I said, I've stalked her on LinkedIn, and I'm so impressed with all the videos and all the things that she's done. So this is Dr. Terri Karelle-Reid. And for those of you that don't know, Dr. Terri, can I call you Dr. Terri?
Sure, you can call me Terri. Terri is fine.
Terri. Okay, so Terri comes all the way from Jamaica, and for those of you that don't know, there's a 15-hour time difference between Jamaica and Malaysia, so we're really honored and really grateful to have you with us and join us in this discussion.
Thank you.
Terri calls herself a connector of people and dots. Very intriguing, I have to say, but I do know what you're saying. And her extensive experience on the many stages across the globe has enabled her to build a brand that is synonymous with the word excellence in the world of virtual events, speaking, TV hosting, content curation, brand storytelling, and online processes. She's also one of the most sought after, what would you call it, hosts for corporate and public events in Jamaica.
Event host. Correct.
Yeah, and internationally. She's very versatile. I can see that in everything that she does, and she's a very entertaining speaker and a storyteller who always strives beyond excellence in all the roles that she undertakes. And this is the bit that I love so much. She is unapologetically authentic and unorthodox, and uses her various platforms to inspire, challenge, and motivate. So welcome, Terri. Nice to meet you at last.
Thank you. Hi, ladies. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to go straight into the discussion because we don't have a lot of time, and I'm sure there's a lot of valuable insights that you guys can share. So I would like to pose the question around the table, but also viewers who would like to ask questions of the panelists, they can write so in the comment. And if we have time, or if they're very pertinent questions, I will put them forward to the panelists. So my first question is to Anis. So Anis, as most of us are aware, there are a lot of graduates out there in the world, in Malaysia, right? And some, they've only graduated for like maybe a couple of years, recent graduates. Some are fresh out of school, and there are also graduates that are just starting out on their first career. So my question to you is this: with the lack of experience, right? And because they're new, they've yet to kind of become subject matter experts in their fields. So how can these graduates then build a strong professional presence?
Okay, thank you, Rozana, for the question. So it takes a certain period of time to be an expert, and it varies between industries and also your own background. But there are a number of things we can do to get to that point faster if you are committed to go extra miles every day to accelerate the learning. So, for example, if you're still at university, you can go for internship, not just during long breaks. If you can do it remotely or while studying, do it. From here, you will come to know what else is expected from you from the point of employer and also industry level, as well as you got to expand your connections. Even for myself, I did volunteer to work on a business development projects for a company in another industry while I was working as an engineer. Because since I was in university, I was so passionate about tech business, and knowing the fact that changes can happen anytime in the company, there might be opportunities for me to move up. So I got myself prepared before it happened by being proactive and seeking for other ways to learn the skills needed for my next move. Second, we can't have a professional presence or visibility if there's no audiences, right? So expand your network, whether it's online, like on a professional networking platform such as LinkedIn, as well as offline. If you're new to networking, you might feel hesitate to join business networking event, then go for other more casual events where you can meet people out of your usual circles, yet you still get the opportunities to add new people in your connection. So who knows that the person who sits next to you in French class is your next employer, or the hiring manager of the firm that you wanted to join is in your Toastmaster chapter. And then now that you already started to have audiences, set cadence to post about specific theme on your LinkedIn every day. If you're an engineering graduate or a junior engineer, for example, you can start by adding your point of view on an interesting tech post you read and get people to engage on your post. You'll be amazed on how the organic reach on social media like LinkedIn can help you boost your visibility in just few days. Yeah.
Okay, that's a very good tip. So basically, what you're saying is don't wait until you graduate to start getting work experience. Secondly, network, right?
Yeah.
And thirdly, increase your visibility through the social media platforms, because that's what they're there for, right? Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Now, the next question I would like to ask is for Ranukka. Now, Ranukka, we all know that, especially now, for every job that's out there, there's a lot of people going for the same job, right?
Right.
Yeah, there's kind of like a scarcity there. So how then, what would be your advice, some game-changing pointers that you can give us that people can focus on so that they can stand out from the other whatever, you know,
whole
interviewees
lot
or
of
whatever
it.
it is. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thanks so much, Rozana. And by the way, Ani's amazing answer. I want to say that. So when it comes to like standing out from the crowd in terms of interviews, first thing I want to just address is that from an image standpoint, it's not just really how you look, because image is made out of appearance, behavior, and communication. So it needs to have a balance of these three elements in order for you to stand out very subtly and not in a bad way. But prior to all of this, right, my very first advice I always tell candidates is research. You need to really research the company that you're going for an interview. Of course, I think it goes without saying you need to research about the job that you're going for the interview, right? But the interesting thing that I find out is that a lot of hiring managers tell me statistically, almost half of the candidates that go for interviews do not really know what they're going for an interview for. You know, so that's really a shock to me. I would have thought that that's the first thing you want to think about, right? So first thing is research on like the job scope itself. Secondly, the culture of the company. What is their dress code like? And then thirdly, of course, right now with the convenience of Googling and like what Rozana you mentioned, stalking on LinkedIn, it's really easy to find out who your hiring manager is as well, right? So with all this information, it's really easy for you to now kind of understand how to form and position yourself in terms of your image when you go for the interview. Because you only have 7 seconds to make a first impression, right? So you really have to take that opportunity to make it right. And the last tip I want to share with candidates who are going for an interview is that I think you want to really stand out by being unique. And when I say that, it basically means not being generic. When you see online, right, people telling you like, oh, you're going for an interview, wear neutral colors. You're going for an interview, wear a formal wear, you know. So, but what really does that mean, you know? I would always tell candidates, right, if you're going for an interview and you know all this, basically you've done your research, you've done your homework. Now think about, imagine yourself going for the interview. What's the impression you want to create? Be very specific about it. Professional, what kind of professional? Trustworthy, how trustworthy, you know? When you're so specific about it, your attire, how you carry yourself, your whole demeanor would change. And I think that would help you a lot more, especially if you're going for a job interview that has many candidates in there.
Yes, you're right. I resonate with every single pointers that you've given out there. You know, so yeah, image isn't just about how you look; it's about everything that's about you, right? How you present yourself. And I'm shocked to hear that people actually go to job interviews not knowing what they're going for.
It is true. Honestly speaking, like even for me, prior to this, when I was in corporate, I had this experience as well, whereby when candidates come in, I would ask them like, do you know exactly what this job encompasses? And they'll be like telling me very basic things, and that's not really it. Yeah.
Yeah, so research is really key. Really know what the job that you're going for, the company that you're going for, what, you know, whether their culture is something that sits well with you even, because you also want to have that culture fit, right?
Yes,
you want to work for a company that you believe in and be happy with. And the last thing that you said was to be unique and not just look like everybody else, try and stand out in how you look. Fantastic. Thank you so much for those tips. Okay, so my third question is for Shilpa. Shilpa, now we know that the world and organizations are changing at such a rapid pace, right? We can't keep up. So in your opinion then, how different do you think the jobs of the future will be like?
Yeah, thank you so much, Rozana, for this question. And before I start, I definitely want to say that I agree with everything that Anis and Ranukka said. As a HR professional, I kind of validate all of the things that they say. I have faced that as well. So the question was, how different is the future job market? And
yes,
you asked me, yes, the world of work is changing rapidly, and there are two forces that is driving this change. One is the globalization, and one is the digitalization. We've all crossed a certain mile with globalization, but I think the onset of the pandemic has kind of accelerated the digitalization era as well. And For businesses now to survive and prosper, they have no choice but to become agile and to embrace this digitalization and automate themselves. They have to do that like they've never ever done before. And we've also seen that this automation or this digitalization helps in increasing your productivity, in your efficiency, and it's also cost saving. So companies are going to start doing that now. So, keeping all this in mind, what I say is people with non transactional skill sets, or let me put it in a way that people with things that make us more human, like people with skills like judgment, emotional connections, conflict resolution capabilities, critical thinking. These are the people who will take center stage. Everything transactional will eventually either be fully or partially automate, and it will just be an algorithm which will be just a machine that is doing things faster and cheaper and more efficiently. The second thing is technology will be leveraged with the digital innovations in AI. We have the augmented reality, the virtual reality. It is making way for anyone, anywhere across the world to work with anyone else, anywhere else in the world, just like how we are doing the summit, for example. And this new age skills is something that people have to build, and this will benefit them if they learn these new age digital skills. And the third thing I would like to tell is the women. The women who face a double burden because they have to manage work and they have to also keep up to the expectations at home. And now that the virtual working is becoming a norm, it will surely benefit them. The specially abled professionals, it will benefit them because they no longer have to worry about commuting or facing the distance challenges for them. What I want to say is basically all the skills that make us uniquely human will be more relevant than ever before in the future job market. And the good news is that we don't have to learn all of this from scratch. We just need to go back and reclaim the ground where humans will be more human in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think automation, digitalization is already here. It's just going to happen on a bigger scale, and and I hope that every single human being here have got human-like values. So those are the things that are going to be really key and really important, and the things that we need to kind of cultivate and accentuate, our human intelligence, because that's what's going to get us in, working and being able to contribute. But what I found really interesting as well in what you were saying was that the burden on women is going to double. And that kind of like brought up a little bit of like, not very nice feelings in me, because I think, expectations have to change. We can't expect women to work and still be catering to the home life. I do think that expectations have to change, and maybe the job roles have to be kind of like managed a little bit better and balanced, so that the burden is shared.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. Like I didn't want to interrupt, but I'm actually there with you. I think even what we're going through in terms of the homeschooling and working remotely, you kind of realize that work that is at home is not gender specific. It can no longer be gender specific. Daddies will have to pick up the role. If mommy is going to be in meetings all day, then maybe daddy needs to cook the food, maybe he needs to press the clothes. I think there has to be more partnership. And I think the expectations, as you spoke about, needs to be leveled. So it doesn't become just mommy, but that both genders, both partners come together to make sure that the best interest for everyone is at the heart of the relationship.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about collaboration, isn't it?
Definitely.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for your input, Terri. That's fine. That's great. Okay, so Terri, I have a question for you.
All right.
the question is this. So I believe that authenticity and originality are at the forefront of your values, right? That's the feeling that I got. So how can a person use this to build their competitive advantage in their career? How can they be more authentic and more original and use that as a competitive advantage?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your question. I think simply it is people understanding what their power is. I think very often what we do is we underestimate the power of our stories. We underestimate our perspectives and our lived experiences. And so there's always this thinking or understanding that we need to sound and look like someone else in order to be successful in a particular space and industry. And I think what we don't realize is that you are so unique. The fact that there is absolutely no one on this earth right now who looks like you, thinks like you, and has been through the same journey as you, puts you in a very unique position. And so I think if most of us owned our stories and we respected and acknowledged our stories, then it becomes so much easier to connect. So, for example, in Jamaica, we have tons of hosts, a lot of event hosts. For me, I'm Terri Karelle. My flair is different. How I deliver is different. How I tell my stories and ad-lib is different. And I think if more of us tapped in to really what we're about and what we're important for us and what we choose to align with, then we would certainly unlock and unleash a lot more of what we have to offer in the space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very powerful. So what you're saying is like really search deep into ourselves, find out who we really are, understand that who we are is unique and that it's powerful in itself because nobody can be us. And that's how we can be competitively, advantageous in the career front, right?
Absolutely. And be balanced. Yeah. I see persons, for example, in the space saying, these are my flaws and this is just how I am. This is who I am authentically. And I think it also needs to be balanced. It's okay for you to be authentic, but I still believe you have to be aware. You have to be mature. You have to be emotionally intelligent to understand, though, how your authenticity plays in a space to not offend, to not insult, without taking away from who you are. So I think even though we speak about being unique and being our true selves, we also need to be able to balance it in the spaces that we are in as well.
So what you're saying is be authentically respectful.
Yeah. You can still be you without being offensive or imposing of yourself and of your authenticity in spaces.
Yeah. Thank you. Very, very powerful.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next question I have is I'm going to go back to Anis. Okay. So the next question I have for you, Anis, is this. So what advice would you give women and youths in general, right? Just basically young people and women out there, and maybe even men if they want to take advice, in order to prepare themselves so they can identify and strengthen their competitive advantage.
Okay, nice. So this is for everyone, not just men and youth, for men as well. So is there anyone here who have watched Shark Tank?
Yeah.
So I wish to quote Mark Cuban. He said, "The greatest competitive advantage is knowledge." So I added 3 more components, which are skills, attitude, and mindset. Your skills, knowledge, attitude, and mindset are the only thing that no one is that powerful to take them away from you. You have a full control on them, whether you deliberately and purposely working on improving them or not. So ask this question: what would make me more than just a resource to my current company? What else can I do so that I can outperform the person next to me? If the competitor of current company know about me, will they feel challenged to see how am I performing? Would they be interested to buy me from this company, or they look at me just like any other average employee? So from your honest answers to the questions earlier, craft a smart goal. Second, go beyond your job scope. Don't think you are sacrificing anything for the company. Look at it as if you're investing your time, your money, your effort to build your own values. The result depends on how you perceive your action. Of course, you should draw the line yourself. Always be in a stretch zone, which means that you are in the zone where you have the positive pressure to move you forward, and take a step back if you feel like you're already entering the panic zone. Last but not least, appoint your personal board of directors. These people should be those who have a niche expertise in the areas that are relevant to your goal. Besides involving them in important career decisions, pick one or two things you want to master from each of them and make it like a developmental goals. All of these are some of the steps that you can take to bridge the gap. So you have to start by defining your goal and admitting your current strength and weaknesses to build a strong bridge using the methods I've shared earlier.
They're very useful. And I think very insightful as well. So the first thing you said was like with your goals, always make sure they're smart so that you know what you're trying to achieve in the space of time and what they are. And also you said something about going beyond the job scope. And it's true what you said. A lot of people think that if they work harder, work longer hours for a company, they're doing it for the company, but actually what you're saying is this: change your mindset, look at it as an investment in yourself, in your own skills, in your own knowledge, so that you're learning as you're pushing yourself past your boundaries and your comfort zone. And then this interesting concept that you brought in about appointing your own personal board of directors. Now I see that as a kind of a mentorship type relationship. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's a mentor, but you have to make sure that maybe you can have like 5 or 10 mentors, doesn't matter, but it's very niche. They have very niche expertise. Yeah.
So to do that, would you then need to identify what it is that you want to be, the different skills that you want to level up on first? How would you?
True. Yeah. So basically, we set the goal first, and we see that what are the skills or what's actually the gap that we want to bridge. So from there, we seek for relevant people who can help us there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very useful tip. I might start my own board of directors soon.
Yeah. We might do that.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Okay, my second question for Ranukka is this then. So I'm a great believer in character, and that everybody should have really good character, and that beauty comes from the inside. Okay,
right.
And these are the things that makes you go a long way in life and in your career. So I need some convincing that focusing on my image is just as, if not more important than this.
Right. You know what? This is the most frequent asked question I always get. Like, oh, like, why should I focus so much on my looks or like my image per se when inner beauty and character is more important? I think first things first is that everyone needs to really come off from that notion that image is just about looking good. It's not. Yeah, it's not about just looking good. In fact, I resonate so much with what Dr. Terri mentioned about uniqueness, which is something what I advocate in my line of work, where I match people's substance with their perception. And this really truly gives you a uniqueness to how you look, how you carry yourself. Because, like what Dr. Terri mentioned is true. The journey where you came from, who you are, your personality, your characters, everyone is so different. Right? It can't be that if you're an accountant and I'm an accountant, we should look the same. You know what I mean? There are different aspects of us that makes us very different. So I think first things first, right? Everyone needs to understand that image is not just about looking good. Image is really more than that. It's really about how to position yourself so that people can understand and appreciate the uniqueness in you, right? Just in the first few seconds when they see you. And I think that's really important. A lot of people kind of oversee that. Because what I always hear from many individuals when I tell them like, hey, this is what I do, they'll be like, no, you know what? We shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Or, hey, my substance is more important. I don't really care so much about my looks. But you have to understand that if people don't know you and don't know who you are all about, right, they're basically judging you based on face value, right, what they're seeing you. And it would be such a pity if you did not take an effort to build that so that people can understand you from that look itself. So that's why for me, right now, this is my true advocacy. I want everyone to understand the importance of it, and it's not just for vanity reasons. Yeah. So for career progressions, example, like we're talking about right now, career advantages. I'm going to say that the longevity of your career in corporations, example, is really how you consistently stay visible. And when I say consistent, it has to also very much tie on how you're able to incorporate the uniqueness that you are in. You are all about. Yeah, so it's a question very true, very sore to my heart. But I'm glad I get this opportunity to share this.
Yeah, I'm convinced. I love that phrase that you said as well, that what you do is you're actually matching substance with perception. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that, on how you kind of...
Oh, sure. So that's basically my company tagline, like matching substance with perception. So what I usually do is that I first need to get the individuals to understand who you're all about. What's the first thing people think about you when they see you? And then secondly, like, what kind of industry are you in? Who do you serve? And then, of course, thirdly, what's the perception you want to create here exactly? When people see you, what do you want people to think about you? What do you want people to think that what you're all about? So all these factors are so important, and it's for everyone. It doesn't mean that I'm not client facing. I don't need to do any business. I'm an internal staff. I don't have to think about that, because honestly speaking, right, branding yourself right, or understanding your image is for everyone. We're selling all the time, right? I think this is something everyone should understand. So understanding how to position yourself is also part of selling yourself right. So I always bring individuals through all these processes to kind of understand exactly how to position yourself, so that you'll be unique in a very authentic way, like it's not like you're shouting out, "Hey, look at me," but it's really about the fact that when people see you, they're like, I think this person is really what I think their substance is.
Yeah. Very good. So okay. Just to keep you on your toes a little bit. I want to say this. I'm a hardcore rock chick. How would you then? How would you then?
I think I could tell though. I feel like I could tell. Maybe it's the hair. I don't know. The hair gave it away. I felt.
How would you advise me on how I could present myself, say on the corporate front, so that it's not too kind of... No, I'm not, but I'm just like, hypothetically, how would you do that?
Okay. Say for instance, Rozana, you're in a corporate sector and your true personality, you're a rock chick, right? You're a rock star, right? So I would say that I'm probably going to dress you corporately, but with a little bit of edge. So the edge could be maybe colors, maybe a little bit of the cut fit. Perhaps it's also some subtlety of the color of your hair, example. So it will not make you look like a cookie cutter person that, is like blouse and slacks and whatnot. There will be certain parts of, your entire dressing that will showcase that this person has a bit of edge. I might not know she's a rock star, but I know she's edgy. Yeah, so that could actually be translated out. And I think in this day and age, right, individuality is something a lot of people want. They want people to know that, hey, I'm not just an accountant, example. I also play in a band. I'm not just an accountant, I sing as well, So all these things, right, can be actually translated through your image. It's just you need to understand how to. Yeah. But I think right now, our society is still at the why part. People are still needing to be convinced why it's so important. The how, let's talk about the why first before the how.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, there was a question from a lady, but it's moved on. But I do want to put it across because I think it's quite important. I think her name was Patty, and what she said was this: she was asking, like, there's a lot of women over 40 who have a lot of work experience, but they're finding it very hard to get a job. So what advice would the panelists give them? Maybe I can direct this to Shilpa. I know the next question is going to be for you as well, but because you're an HR person, you would probably give them good tips on how they can get a job.
All right. Yeah. So thank you so much for putting that question to me. It's something that keeps coming to me from my clients as well. It is really sad, but yes, the corporate world has this kind of stereotyping where ageism, not just ageism, racism, your gender disparity, and this kind of discrimination is rampant. So it is also how you take all of this in your mind, because if you're going to keep thinking you are 40 and I am not going to be able to do what a 20-year-old is going to do, it will never happen. So first thing is, one needs to accept and believe in themselves that they can do much more than what a 20-year-old can do. And there is nothing, age is just a number. It is nothing to do with age. It is really your skills. So work on your skills. If there's something that you need to learn, it doesn't matter, you're 50, you're 60, you're 70, you're 20, learn that skill and be the best at it. And that you'll have to show that you are good at it and in the interview, rather than focusing on, a lot of people with after the age of 40, usually when they come for interviews, they carry a lot of baggage from their past. So letting go of that baggage and getting into the new age skills is what is, I think, really important for anyone at this time.
So what you're saying is, yeah, go ahead, Terri.
And I just want to add, I think for anyone who's over, like I have 2 more years till I'm 40, right, guys? But one thing I can say, and it's probably going to go to what Ranukka said, is online branding is amazing. So I have found that the more I position, the more I speak about what I am good at and how I am good at it and why I'm good at it. And if I've had persons to come on and offer social proof to say, yes, she hosted my event, and yes, she spoke at my event, and I remember you totally tore up the joint. What usually starts to happen is that people start to come to you. Opportunities and your territory increases. So I think one of the biggest errors that we do is sometimes we rely on the resume, we rely on the CV, and we rely on the experience, and we go into jobs, we apply to jobs in a very traditional form, thinking that's it. No. Businesses want assets. They want to see that you're out there. They want to see you have a following, and they want to see, you building your own content. So for me, if I'm 40 or over 40 and I have a lot of experience, I'm going to be writing LinkedIn articles. I'm going to give my opinion on things. I'm going to position and pitch in a very organic way. And I promise you, if you do it with strategy and intention, the businesses and the companies that you were interested in, they will come to you. Not that that's all you have to do, but it can really help to shorten that gap, that waiting period.
That's very interesting. It's almost like you're saying, think outside the box, forget the traditional way of trying to sell yourself, if you like, use technology, use social media, because that's what it's there for, and let people know about you. And in that way, you attract the people that are attracted to you, right?
Yeah. Actually, one thing to just add on this one, make sure that your online brand and your offline brand is consistent. I think that's one thing that I always realized. They're branding themselves really well online, but when you see them face to face, it's another story altogether. You know what I mean?
That comes down to authenticity as well.
Exactly.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that, panelists. I hope Patty actually got some useful tips from there. So my next question is for Shilpa. Shilpa, so someone who works in HR, right? What kind of employer efforts would you suggest to be able to drive engagement, empowerment, and fulfillment for the employees?
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much for the question, Rozana. So before I answer this question, I would like to quote a famous American poet, Maya Angelou, and she said that I have learned that people will forget what you said and people will forget what you did, but people will never ever forget how you made them feel. So employers need to remember that the human experience is a key differentiator today. And that plays a role, a very key role, both strategically and operationally. And it is that drives the engagement and the empowerment and the fulfillment of employees. So there are two contexts which I keep speaking about to my clients who are startups and other entrepreneurs. So one context where I talk about is this era, the new generation, the generation Y and Z that has come out. See, they are not the people who are working to sustain themselves financially. Rather, they are looking for jobs that fit their lifestyle, that give them opportunities to grow and learn, that connect them to a greater purpose or meaning in their work life. And the second thing that I tell these startups and employers is that it is an increasingly shrinking world. The businesses are all gone global. All the employees are better networked now. We have so much integration of technology with social media at the workplace, and any dialogue between two employees online can just quickly go viral, or a misworded review of an employee on social media can be so disastrous to the branding of that company. Both in my past and my present experiences, I have seen that employers have now started focusing more on the human experience or the employee experience, and it all starts from the pre-hiring stage to the the post the exit stage, and everything that comes in between. So for example, if we think of it as a tool like a laptop, probably. So if you're using a laptop that is helping you prepare, do your desired task faster and more efficiently, what are you going to do? You're going to just love that brand of that laptop, all right, and talk good about it. And the same way, if it's the opposite, if you're using a laptop that is making your task slow, it is causing you a lot of problems in performing your task, you're not going to be talking good about it. You're just going to hate that brand, all right? So in the same way, it's a workplace experience as well. So I suggest employers to take a really good long look at the experiences that they are creating for their employees. Look at the physical space, look at the facilities at work, look at the tools that you're equipping your employees with, look at the in knowledge enhancement initiatives in your organization. Look at the flexibility you're allowing employees to have a choice on how and where they want to work. This is also going to give them some control and contribute to the professional empowerment. So it all basically boils down to me saying that positive human experiences at workplace will lead to your empowered, engaged, and fulfilled employees.
Brilliant. I've just got a note that we have only like a few minutes left, but I just want to summarize what you just said there, Shilpa, in very quickly. So basically your advice to employees is just remember your humanity and be more human when you are dealing with other human beings, right? So I have one last question for Terri, and it's this. So like I said to you, I've read your bio, I've watched your videos, and I can see that in everything that you do, you really strive for excellence, right? What advice would you give our viewers then on how they can continually do this, always be striving for excellence in their lives and in their career?
Thank you for the question. I'm going to try to answer as quickly as possible. I think what allows me to strive for excellence goes back to what Anis says. Everything that I do, it's never done within just the scope. I'm never defined by just the role that I do. I always think about how can I enhance? How can I add value? How can I make this brand experience something that is amazing? So no, I'm not just an event host. I now become, I redefined what that experience feels like. So I think it's always important to go outside what your scope looks like. And certainly, I think if you continue to have empathy and to understand the people you serve, you will always try to find out the new ways and better ways to connect with these people. And that happens when you align and you associate with things that go along with what you believe in, what your core values are, what your principles are. When everything comes together and all the ducks are lined up, it allows you to be excellent and to feel good being excellent in what you do.
Thank you so much for that. So basically what you're saying is always be serving and always add value to everything that you do. Go the extra mile. Thank you. Andrea's popped up here and I think she's telling us.
I'm the one saying sorry. Yeah, because the next session is on and all the other people are waiting in the room for me. So thank you very much. It was an amazing session again. As I just cannot, I'm really happy. Everything what I did, it's worth a while. Not sleeping for 3 months. You are doing an amazing job, girls. And this is the thing what people will really appreciate: your value and your honesty. And let me read you a little bit of the comments. So wow, what a diverse group. Love the energy from Cheru. We have good to see you again, Miss Rozana from Mega Roxy. We have also Patty Sardine, good tips, Anis. Thank you very much. We have Jerin Thomas George. What are the 3 things you look in fresh graduates? Any tips if you can still share while I'm going around? Ken Chokli, aka authentic, respectful, beautifully said. So all the beautiful comments, please keep with this live show. Go to your Facebook page, look through the comments from the audience and answer yourself. It would be lovely because I think people would appreciate. You have all the links. And to the audience there, thank you very much for joining in and writing your comments. I'm really appreciating that you are engaging with us. And see you at the other session. We have to leave this one and we will start another one. You will find the program on the Facebook page, on the on the website and everywhere else. See you and thank you very much, ladies.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Thanks,
bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. See you guys.
It began with a bold vision to build KL Metropolis, a development that would establish a new international trade and exhibition district in Malaysia, built in partnership with the government by Naza Group's property arm, Naza TTDI. The crown jewel of this grand vision is the Malaysia International Trade and Exhibition Centre, the preferred international destination for exhibitions and events. Like the fine gold and silver threads of the Songket weave that inspired its facade design, MyTech is the embodiment of refined craftsmanship, creativity and precision. As Malaysia's largest exhibition centre, MyTech's functional spaces are unprecedented. Primed for exceptional displays, surrounded by state-of-the-art facilities and amenities.